How's it going, everyone? Oculus VR here, and there are many VR options on the market right now, so that's why I'm making this video today. I will be listing out all of the VR headsets on the market and what comes with it. Please note that I don't own most of these headsets except for the Oculus Quest, but I hope to in the future. Today I'll be listing price, specs, and what I think of it. So let's get started with the Nintendo Labo VR. The Nintendo Labo VR is a great starter headset. You make it all by yourself, made out of cardboard, and the starter kit is only $20, and the full set is around $80. This headset uses the Switch itself, meaning it's only 3 degrees of freedom, and of course, the specs are just the Switch specs. There are a few games in this kit, and all of them are pretty fun, but you have to make them yourselves. They contain the Toy-Con Blaster, the Toy-Con Camera, the Toy-Con Elephant, and the Toy-Con Bird. All of them are their own separate game. This is a neat headset. I think it's good for kids, but not really for VR enthusiasts, so please keep that in mind. And now we have the Oculus Go. The Oculus Go was Oculus's first ever standalone headset, but it was only 3 degrees of freedom. Here are the specs. Please note that I will not be listing all of the specs of each headset, but I'll just be going over the important ones. So for the supported refresh rate, we have 60 or 72 Hz. The panel type, we have single fast switch LCD 2560 by 1440, and of course the tracking is only 3 degrees of freedom, and it has an integrated audio strap, and the processor is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 821. I don't really know too much about computers, so I'm sorry if I said some of that wrong, but the Oculus Go's price is around $200, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a great headset, but it's no longer worth it. I would just recommend saving up for the Oculus Quest. And now, of course, we have the Oculus Quest. The Oculus Quest is Oculus's second standalone VR headset, and let's take a look at the specs. And of course, the panel types are the dual OLED 1600 by 1440 panel types. The supported refresh rate is 72 Hz, but can be changed in some cases. And we have a USB connector, so it's one USB 3.0 and inside-out tracking. So it's 6 degrees of freedom, an integrated audio strap, and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835. And you already know my opinion on the Oculus Quest. This headset is amazing. I have another video reviewing the Quest if you would like to go check it out after this video. And the price of the Oculus Quest is $400, but there is a 128 gig model that is $500. And here we have the PlayStation VR. The PSVR is PlayStation's first ever VR headset, and is the most purchased headset in the world with around 3 million units. Let's take a look at the specs. Here are some of the basic specs. The resolution is 1920 by 1080. The refresh rate is 120 Hz or 90 Hz. The field of view is approximately 100 degrees. It has an integrated microphone, and the connection is a HDMI or USB. I think the PSVR is great. I think it's the best because the PlayStation 4 has 100 million units sold, so it's easily accessible and has the price of $350. Please take this headset into consideration if you have a PlayStation. And now we have the classic, the HTC Vive. The HTC Vive was one of the first room-scale VR headsets that had 2 fully tracked controllers, and it actually still stands today because the hardware is not too old. Here are the specs. The screen is a dual AMOLED 3.6 diagonal screen. The resolution is 1080 by 1200 pixels per eye. The refresh rate is 90 Hz. The field of view is 100 degrees. And the sensors are SteamVR tracking and G-sensor gyroscope. This headset is very similar to the Oculus Rift, so it can be a hard choice to choose which one to buy. Please be sure to note that the HTC Vive has many different models, but the Vive is the most basic. I have used the Vive Pro and it was an awesome experience. The price for the original HTC Vive is $499. And now we have the Oculus Rift. The Oculus Rift is Oculus's first ever consumer VR headset, and here are the specs. The panel type is a dual OLED 1080 by 1200 panel type. The supported refresh rate is around 90 Hz, and the native color space is between Adobe RGB and DCI P3 Gamma 2.2 Gamma and D75 White Point. The display connector is an HDMI 1.3. The USB connector minimum, two USB 3.0s. Additional tracking sensors allow USB 2. It has outside-in tracking, so it's 6 degrees of freedom, and integrated over-ear headphones and microphone. Don't get me wrong, the Oculus Rift is amazing, but it is getting a little old. The OG release date is back in 2012, but they have improved it since then. And it does still stand today. The price of the Rift is around $480, so I would recommend getting the Rift S. The Oculus Rift S is just a better version of the Oculus Rift. So let's take a look at the specs. The panel type is a single fast switch LCD display, which is 2560 by 1440. The supported refresh rate is around 80 Hz. The default SDK color space is tuned to replicate the Rift's native color space. The display connector is DisplayPort 1.2. The USB connector is a USB 3.0. The tracking is inside out and 6 degrees of freedom. And the audio is an integrated headphone, in-strap, and microphone. I haven't played on the Oculus Rift S, but I've heard nothing but amazing reviews from friends and other VR fans. I heard it's a comfortable and all-around amazing VR product, so I would definitely look into this if you're looking for an affordable PC VR headset. The price is around $400. And last, but certainly not least, we have the Valve Index. The Valve Index's specs are: resolution is 1440 by 1600 per eye. The display refresh rate is 120 Hz, but it does have an experimental 1440 mode. And the FOV is 130 degrees, and the audio is a 37.5 millimeter off-ear speaker with built-in microphone. And the tracking is SteamVR 2.0 sensors, but it is compatible with the SteamVR 1.0 sensors, so it is an outside-in tracking headset. This is definitely the best headset on the VR market right now, but it comes at a high cost, at around $1,000 plus a VR-capable PC, but it is well worth it. The controllers track your fingers, making for a highly immersive experience, plus a high resolution in FOV. If you love VR and have some extra cash, then buy the Valve Index. You will not regret it. So yeah, there you have it. Those are all of the main VR headsets on the market right now. Let me know which ones you have or which ones you want in the comments below. I certainly want the Valve Index. Please note that some of the headsets are sold out right now because of the global pandemic and some very good game releases, but they are working on getting them back in stock. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it because it really helps me out with growing the channel so I can share VR with everybody. And be sure to subscribe if you really enjoy my content. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it, and of course, take care.